And joining me for this segment of Reaching Out is Julie Menin. She is the Commissioner of Consumer Affairs. Julie, welcome back to Reaching Out, because we had you a few years ago and you were in your other capacity.
Yes, Greg. Thank you so much for having me on the show again.
Could you tell us, please, first introduce our audience to the general overall mission of the Consumer Affairs Department of New York City?
Absolutely. Well, the Department of Consumer Affairs for New York City is the largest municipal consumer protection agency in the country. We have over 400 individuals. We have a mission of really focusing on both small businesses as well as consumer protection and financial empowerment. We license 80,000 businesses in New York City, and we also enforce the city's consumer protection law, which I'm happy to report is one of the strongest in the country. And we also really focus as well on small businesses. One of the focuses of the de Blasio administration is to really make sure that New York City is working for small businesses. So we have a particular focus on reducing fines on small businesses where there really hasn't been a tremendous amount of consumer protection issues.
There is now a paid sick leave law in New York City, and your agency is in charge of enforcing that. How is that going?
Well, we are thrilled to be the agency that's responsible for implementing and enforcing the paid sick leave law, which now extends to over 1 million employees in New York. It's going very, very smoothly. We have a real focus on mediation, because one of the things we really wanted to be able to show is for those naysayers who, when the law was expanded under the mayor and the speaker's leadership, who said this is going to hurt small businesses are going to be laying off employees, nothing could be further from the truth. In fact, if you look at the job growth that New York City has had in the last year, it's grown 112,000 jobs in the private sector. Unemployment is the lowest it's been in years. So when we talk about the implementation of paid sick leave, we always try to mediate any kind of complaint that we get, because obviously that's best for the business and it's best for the employee. In total, we have about 500 complaints in terms of paid sick leave. We've been able to mediate the vast majority of them. When we aren't able to mediate, and there have been cases such as against FedEx where we've had to assess fines, we obviously do. But in terms of the implementation, it has gone very smoothly. If any of your listeners have had an issue regarding paid sick leave, we really encourage them to reach out to us. They can call 311. They can go to our website, which is www.nyc.gov/paid sick leave.
Who's covered by paid sick leave?
Paid sick leave applies to all businesses that have 5 or more employees, and it also applies to not-for-profits. However, for not-for-profits or businesses that have between 1 and 5 employees, they have to provide 5 days of unpaid sick leave. It also applies to part-time employees. So that's one of the misconceptions that I think was out there early on, and we really have worked very hard to address it. Part-time employees are absolutely covered by paid sick leave as well.
Well, what is the leave for the year for paid sick leave?
It's 5 days. So you earn up to 5 days. And it really depends on how long you've worked for the particular business. You accrue 1 hour for every 30 hours worked. And the law went into effect last April, and starting last July, employees could begin to accrue paid sick leave. One of the things that we've done for small businesses is we have a timekeeping tool on our website. So we try to make it as easy as possible for businesses to comply. And we've done a lot of outreach on paid sick leave. The law requires us to have materials in 7 languages. We decided on our own accord to have all of our materials in 26 languages. We've also done over 800 events just in the past year on paid sick leave. 25% of those events have been conducted in a language other than English, because again, we really want to reach out to immigrant communities, both from the employer and the employee side.
And what is the what is the average or typical complaint that you would receive?
Well, oftentimes this early on in terms of the implementation, it's a simple issue. It's that the employee was not given the required notice. In other words, every employer in New York City who's covered by paid sick leave has to give every single employee, new employees who've been there for many years, a notice that says that they're entitled to paid sick leave, and it describes all the different criteria. So sometimes it's as simple as the employee employer just was not giving that notice to the employees, and that's very easy for us to rectify, and we can bring employers into compliance very quickly. Sometimes, however, it involves retaliation. And whenever there's an allegation of retaliation, we then do an investigation. We do a full-blown investigation to make sure that the employee was not retaliated against. If we find retaliation, we get the employee reinstated, and there are penalties and fines as well as restitution for the employee.
Okay. Now, your agency is in charge of fining businesses for various practices. And now we understand that your agency is also working to help reduce those fines to businesses that you audit fine. How is that going to work?
Well, when Mayor de Blasio appointed me commissioner a little bit over a year ago, one of the focuses he really had for the agency was to reduce fines. And we're not talking about fines, Greg, where there's been consumer harm. There, we're more vigilant than ever, and there, we're actually up 80% in terms of our restitution. What we're talking about are fines on small businesses where, for example, one word of a sign was incorrect in the business, or maybe their refund policy wasn't posted exactly where it should be. And in the past, sometimes businesses were getting fined significant amounts. Or it might be a pricing issue where a bodega did not price, every single can of peaches. And in the past, they would get a fine for every single can of peaches that didn't have the price on it. We really don't think that that's fair. We want to give businesses where there isn't a lot of consumer harm the chance to cure the violation. So now, for 90% of the signage violations, we give businesses 30 days to cure the violation, and they won't get any fine whatsoever. Now, you contrast that where there is consumer harm. So, for example, if businesses are selling expired medicine, if they're selling tobacco to minors, if they're doing any kind of predatory conduct, we're coming down harder than ever. And there, we're actually up 80% in terms of restitution that we've been able to get back this year versus last year for consumers.
So it's sort of a common sense approach to governing.
Exactly.
Consumer Affairs also operates what are called financial empowerment centers to assist low-income New Yorkers. How do citizens access that? And tell us how does that work?
So to me, this is one of the really great issues that we've been able to focus on in this administration. The Office of Financial Empowerment is not new. It's been around for a number of years, since 2006. But what is new is the approach we're taking in this administration to financial empowerment. We run 30 financial empowerment centers throughout New York City. We help low-income New Yorkers in debt. We see thousands and thousands of people who come into our centers, Greg, and what we're able to do is we ask them to bring in all their bills. We help to create a budget. We help to reduce their debt. We help to improve their credit scores. And then if they're unbanked, and right now there are 825,000 unbanked New Yorkers in New York City, we're able to get them banking products. So we offer a banking account called Safe Start that we've negotiated that has no overdraft fees, no upfront fees, no hidden fees, and a minimum balance of $25 or less. So at our financial empowerment centers, we're really able to turn people's lives around who are struggling with debt issues. And this is a great service that we offer. We also help people with their taxes. So in this past year, we did a new campaign around the Earned Income Tax Credit. I hope you and all your listeners saw our ads out there. Yeah. For the first time ever, we as a city spent $3 million to get information out there around the Earned Income Tax Credit. We had, for the first time ever, 200 sites around the city where you could get your taxes done for free. And this is really important because we know that 1 in 5 New Yorkers who are eligible for this important tax refund, the Earned Income Tax Credit, isn't taking it. The average refund is $2,500. And for some families with young kids who get the child credit as well, it's $10,000 that they're leaving behind. We don't want any New Yorker to leave that behind. And so we're really excited because this year, by investing $3 million and expanding these different tax sites and building awareness around this, we had a 50% increase in the number of New Yorkers who we got to come to our free tax sites. And we were able to return $260 million in saved tax preparation fees and refunds to low-income New Yorkers.
So tell us exactly what the Earned Income Tax Credit is. Who is eligible
Sure.
for it? What's the threshold?
So if you're an individual and you make approximately $18,000 or less, you are eligible for the Earned Income Tax Credit. If you're a family and you've got a combined family income of $53,000 or less, you're eligible. If you make less than $60,000, you're eligible to come into one of our free tax sites and get your taxes done for free. And that's really important because the average individual spends $250 to get their taxes done. If you make less than $60,000, there's no need to pay for tax preparation. The city will do it for free.
And when do you start the tax preparation?
We start in December. In December, you'll start to see advertisements, subway ads, bus ads, TV ads, radio ads, because we really want people to go into these tax sites early. We don't want people waiting to the day before taxes are due to come into the centers because honestly, there will be long waits, and we don't want anyone deterred from coming in.
And where could they access the information?
So if you go to our website, if you go to www.nyc.gov/tax-prep, we list 200 sites where you can get your taxes done for free. We list information about our 30 financial empowerment sites, and those sites are open all year long. People can come in, they can meet with one of our trained financial counselors. So I really encourage any of your listeners, if they're having debt issues, please contact us. This is a free service we offer. This is exactly the kind of work that we're here for.
It's very good. I'm sure a lot of New Yorkers didn't know that, and they should be taking advantage of it. Well, we're just about out of time. Is there anything you have to say in maybe 15 to 20 seconds that we haven't covered?
We want to make sure that New Yorkers know that the Department of Consumer Affairs is here for them, whether they're facing issues regarding paid sick leave, transit benefits, whether it's a consumer protection issue, a financial empowerment issue. Please do contact us. We really want to hear from you.
Thank you. That's all the time we have for this segment of Reaching Out. I'm Gregory Floyd, President of Local 237. Our very special guest was Commissioner Julie Menin, Consumer Affairs. Thank you for coming on Reaching Out.
Thanks so much for having me again.